Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremy, and I'm going to update you on what's been going on in my life over the past month. Because I haven't uploaded a video in quite some time. I needed to take time to myself to reflect and gain perspective and recognize lessons, learn the lessons, and apply the lessons to my life to restore my capacity to be prepared for what's about to unfold in front of me as I honor my purpose, both in corporate America, professionally and personally. I'll start off with saying that my purpose in life is to help people operate at their highest potential through self-awareness. Self-awareness to me is recognizing that you are not your thoughts, your emotions, your physical body, the things that have happened to you, but the awareness that those things have happened. I like to use the example of The Wizard of Oz, where Dorothy goes to Oz and interacts with who she initially perceives as Oz, which is this big machine, when in actuality, Oz is the person behind the curtain. You can liken the machine of Oz to our physical body, what we experience in this human experience, and the awareness, our consciousness, as what's behind the curtain, which is truly Oz. When we start to operate as the Oz behind the curtain, the quiet observer in the background, we have more control of what happens in life and how we respond, and thus we can make conscious and consistent decisions that align with our purpose in life, which for me I've outlined, but I feel is at the crux of our lessons learned, gifts, and talents. I feel like this is a turning point for me. I've been, again, reflecting on the things that have been unfolding in my life, the lessons that I've learned, the people in my life. And through those reflections, the lessons require me to go inward to understand my conditioning, the things that I need to heal, and what I need to do going forward to honor my purpose. The turning point that I feel that I'm in has been confirmed by music that's been released recently through confirmation and signs and symbols and circumstances and people, just in different ways. But the only way that I could see those signs and symbols, those little nudges, those little whispers of life, is because I am self-aware and give myself the space to reflect on what's happening in this human experience during my lifetime. The way that I'm honoring my purpose is through books, as you can see behind me, for which I have some updates that I'll release later on. Also, in addition to being an author, being a coach, helping people identify their goals in life and helping them to get the best plan or create the best plan based on their inward reflection and helping them attain those goals, and also through speaking in this platform and other platforms as well. I recognize that I was not born with a silver spoon, and thus I have to work, as it is a part of our society, to have the funds and maybe even the connections to honor my purpose. And so previous videos have shown that I've been on this quest to get into HR because it's the closest thing within corporate America that aligns with my purpose. And I'm happy to report after numerous no's, numerous applications, numerous interviews, and also because of graduating school with specific programs and nurturing strategic relationships with genuine intent, I have accepted a job within HR, which I will upload a video separate about that. But it is totally in alignment with what I've been wanting to do in corporate America, and more importantly, my purpose. I feel like when an individual has flow or is in alignment in all areas of their life, professionally and personally, which I'll get to, it helps honoring one's purpose to become easier or more obtainable, because there's not this pull in one direction and pull in the opposite direction. Everything is going in flow with the reason that we are here, or the reason that I am here. In my personal life, I am doing my best to ensure that I have the right capacity to keep going, which requires taking time to myself, and being strategic with my decisions about who I'm around and who I give my time to, what I give my time to, how much I give my time to, ensuring that I have the capacity mentally, physically, emotionally to honor my purpose, which may look like going on trips with specific people, or spending quality time with myself, learning different things that like Tai Chi, which I experienced over this weekend, and salsa and the bachata that feel good and help me to restore my capacity to have the ability to keep going, right? That balance in professional and personal life to be able to honor my reason for being. And again, as I alluded to earlier, signs and symbols in the form of music and numbers and random circumstances and random people, just to keep going as those whispers of life allow me to get the encouragement that I need, because it's not easy. It's not an overnight process. It's not something that that we just wake up and say we're going to do and it just happens. It is definitely a journey that requires a lot of effort, consistency over perfection. One thing that I have embraced because of a video that someone I follow on Instagram posted is that there are risks in every decision that we make. So if there's a risk with making the decision and a risk of not making the decision, why not take the risk that will give you the most favorable outcome? And even if it doesn't turn out favorable, what can you learn from that outcome to help you be the best that you can be and go after it again? Because it's about consistency over long periods of time, not perfection. It is not an overnight process. So what that means for me is when I wake up in the morning, make the choices that are in alignment with my purpose, intentional, conscious, and consistently. Because if I don't make the choice to do so, there's a risk associated with it, right? If I do make the choice, there is a risk associated with it. I want the more favorable outcome because I know in honoring my purpose and chasing my purpose, there is an abundance that comes with that, not to gain materialistically, but to gain an opportunity to build relationships and to experience life and so many other opportunities. So choose wisely, because there's a risk anyways. One thing that a friend of mine talked about in our conversation that she had with someone else was keep the plan in motion, consistency over perfection. If things don't turn out the way that you feel they should, keep going. What can you learn about the outcomes that you have, and how can you get better at what you're doing? Because again, it's about consistency over perfection. One of the things that I had to do also more recently to increase my capacity is forgiveness. Forgiveness, not for the other person necessarily, but for myself, releasing the emotional weight that has been holding me down and soaking up space that could be used for other things, so that way I can move forward. Forgiveness of self and others. And I talked about self-care and establishing boundaries, but that just goes back to ensuring that I have the capacity to honor my purpose. When I wake up in the morning, I'm not so drained by circumstances and people because of lack of boundaries that I can't go to work and perform my best, especially now that it's in alignment with my purpose, although in corporate America, and do the same thing in my personal life, do the things that I enjoy doing. And that also leads to having a support system, knowing that you can't do it by yourself and that you have to surround yourself with people that are good for your mental health, that will encourage you and pick you up and help you with positive intent, because this thing called life is not easy. What I hope that you take away from this update about this turning point in my life is that I see how all of the dots are connecting. I see that with me identifying my purpose in life, which is to help people operate at their highest potential through self-awareness, and making consistent and conscious choices to do everything in my professional life and in my personal life to align with that and create flow with that purpose, that everything within life is rising up to help me honor that through circumstances and people, through lessons intended to mold and shape me for my purpose, through the circumstances and people that I interact with during this human experience. Because of self-awareness, I have the ability to recognize the signs and symbols and see beyond the surface of the circumstances that I encounter, to again recognize that I'm being molded and shaped, and have the encouragement to keep going even when it doesn't feel like I'm making the progress that I feel I should be making, because it is that we chase purpose without the how and the when, but just knowing and feeling that it is going to happen. Visualizing specifically what I want in circumstances and in people in my life, invoking the general feeling of being in flow, having peace, having clarity, as I use that as a boundary, or use that to really compare my gut instinct whether to move forward or not in certain circumstances or in certain opportunities, because again, it's all about honoring my purpose through consistent and conscious choices, and recognizing that if there's a risk, that I should take the risk with the most favorable outcome, right? And even if it doesn't turn out to be favorable for me, taking the lessons learned and recognizing that we continue to be molded and shaped by circumstances and people, knowing that self-care is super important, knowing that forgiveness is super important, boundaries are super important, and a support system is super important. What I hope to be true in the next couple of months is that the intention that I set at the beginning of the year for self, a significant other, and success is to be true beyond what I imagined, beyond what I visualized, beyond what I invoked in general feelings, and that I am happy that I remain consistent with my actions, my consistent and conscious choices, and didn't worry about the how, the when, or being perfect, but that I kept the plan in motion and I chased my purpose regardless of how it may look on the surface. Have a great day.